It's January 4th, 2022, and this is Sketchworks NewsBrake. The news stops here. I'm Brian Troxell, and I am so happy that we're now in the 4th calendar year of our lawsuit against the rights holders of Greece. 2021 flipped us all the bird on its way out with a couple of notable deaths. America's sweetheart, the First Lady of Television, 99-year-old Betty White, passed away peacefully at her home in Brentwood, California on New Year's Eve. She died from the human strain of the Y2K bug. If you feel bad about this, and many people do, take comfort in celebrating Keith Richards' 100th birthday. He's only 78, but he looks like he could be 100. There were numerous tributes to Betty White, including one from President Biden, who tweeted, "Jill and I are thinking of her family." Hey Joe, your vice president's name is Kamala. I mean, come on, man. O.J. Simpson also remembered Betty, saying when they were neighbors in Brentwood, his cats would always run to Betty's house. If only everything at O.J.'s home did the same. Upon learning Betty White died in Brentwood, O.J. hopped a flight to Chicago. It's a force of habit. Last week, the world also lost NFL legend John Madden. Our condolences go out to Frank Caliendo. Further sad news for the NFL. Former Atlanta Falcons coach Dan Reeves died this weekend. And so did the Falcons' playoff hopes. In other footballing news, on-again and off-again NFL player Antonio Brown is off again. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers released him after he took off his jersey during Sunday's game with the Jets and walked off the field. What's really unprofessional about this situation is Brown didn't give 2 weeks' notice. New Year's Eve saw the major networks airing television specials. ABC had Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, hosted by Ryan Seacrest. CBS had the Nashville Big Bash, and NBC gave us a New Year's Eve special with Miley Cyrus and Pete Davidson, a show sponsored by Hepatitis C. Last week, Sketchworks NewsBrake correspondent and budding nutty professor Allie O'Neill developed a machine to predict the future. I hear she's made peace with those predictions. Yep. And she will be sharing some of those with us now.
That's right, Brian. Let's get into it. The e-girl aesthetic will fall out of favor with Gen Z as millennials like myself discover it and execute it poorly. Next to pick up on the trend in the spring will be members of Gen X, such as John Babcock III and Tim Millard. In the fall, members of the greatest generation will join in, such as John Babcock I and Brian Troxell. Boomers will not be participating because they'll all be in the hospital with COVID. That's right, the final exciting strain of COVID-19, the Omega variant, will make its rounds this year. This version will be so contagious and deadly that it will sneak through towns in the night, killing the firstborn of every family, passing over only those houses whose doorways have been decorated with booster stickers and CDC cards. I might be confusing this with something else. Even if you've already had it, Brian, this strain will definitely kill you, Brian, so make sure you get vaccinated and boosted. Brian, unless you want to taste the sweet, sweet embrace of death. I'm also being told that dark humor will go out of fashion, because that's literally what people will be doing. Literally. Also, literally now, once again, means literally. Hollywood will continue the trend of reheating and rehashing old nostalgic movies, only this time, instead of reheating them in the microwave, they'll use an air fryer. The 1973 sci-fi film Soylent Green will prove prophetic. I don't know in what way because I haven't seen the movie yet, so don't spoil it for me. I know that rumors are going around that this movie takes place in 2022, but I did a Google and I got a whole bunch of different answers from 1999 to 2000 to 2022, but I guess the only way to know for sure is to actually watch the movie, which I haven't done, so please don't spoil it for me. But according to my machine, whatever happens in the movie will happen this year. Hashtag eat the rich. Again, I haven't seen the movie, I don't know what that means. Other media that will prove prophetic will include everyone's favorite violent game of the 90s, Doom. As anyone whose parents let them play remembers, Doom is set in the year 2022, in which Elon Musk travels to Mars and opens a portal to hell. The future's here, folks. We're gonna be purging and time running, and honestly, I'm here for it. Beyond that, everything else that my machine put out is way too dark to be mentioning here. Fortunately, social media has been priming us to accept our fate with bleak indifference, with phrases such as, "it is what it is," and "sometimes it be like that." Also, data science will go extinct as a field as Americans continue to reject science and politicians continue to invent their own data. So, I guess going back to school was kind of pointless, huh? Que sera, sera. For Sketchworks NewsBrake, I'm Allie O'Neill.
Thank you, Allie. I literally cannot wait. Dr. Anthony Fauci says that in order to fight Omicron, it's likely that people will need to take a fourth COVID shot. Although, knowing me, I'll just binge them all once the full season is released on Amazon Prime. Starbucks says its employees must either get the COVID-19 vaccine or be tested for the virus every week. The tests are available skinny and half-calf if they want. The FDA approved the Pfizer booster shot for teenagers this week, so this time, kids, say yes to drugs. Twitter banned Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal account after she repeatedly posted COVID conspiracy theories. She claims Twitter can't handle the truth. Greene can't handle therapy either. For tax season, the IRS put out a notice saying that even thieves need to report their income, which is why the IRS will report their income. Hey, speaking of taxes and criminals, this sounds like a great opportunity to see where Sketchworks NewsBrake correspondent Tim Millard is hiding now.
Brian, I'm no longer hiding under the bed in the spare bedroom of my parents' house just because of my unethical advice about IRS tips. This time I'm hiding under the bed because of COVID-19. The Omicron variant is spreading like wildfire across much of the United States. We're talking about more infections, we're talking about longer lines for COVID tests, and we're talking about a general disruption of our day-to-day life that we thought was going to get back to possibly normal in 2022. Well, look what's happened. On a serious note, in the past few weeks I've had several of my friends and even family members who have come down with COVID. Thankfully they're getting through it, but let this be a reminder. Get vaccinated, wear a mask, do your part to stop the spread of this disease. We all have a role to play. Think of others. Also, make sure you pay your taxes, otherwise the IRS will try to blame that on me. And I don't know how much longer I can spend underneath this bed. It's kind of tight under there. But at least my parents said they won't turn me in. That's a good thing, right? For Sketchworks NewsBrake, I'm Tim Millard.
Thank you, Tim. I literally cannot wait. Attorneys for Virginia Giuffre, the woman accusing Prince Andrew of sexual assault, orchestrated by Ghislaine Maxwell, is requesting medical proof to corroborate Andrew's claim that he is incapable of sweating. In Andrew's defense, it's tough to break a sweat when you've never done any work your whole life. Speaking of the convicted sex trafficker, Ghislaine's secret husband, Scott Borgerson, has ended their secret marriage after 7 secret years. In a prison phone call, Borgerson told Maxwell he is moving on with his yoga instructor. As you do. When she learned of the yoga instructor, Maxwell said, "Really? How old is she? Is she cute? Does she like secluded islands?" Speaking of ladies with legal issues, a verdict has been reached in the Elizabeth Holmes fake blood result, fake baritone voice trial. A jury found Holmes guilty on 4 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of impersonating Steve Jobs. Chinese citizens who broke the country's strict COVID lockdown rules are being paraded through the streets, making it the 2nd worst parade of the year after this one. I have no idea what the hell that was. Donald Trump Jr. found someone willing to marry him. Hey, there's hope for me yet. He announced his engagement to girlfriend Kimberly Guilfoyle. The husband and wife-to-be are registered at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. Staying in the Empire State, there's a new mayor of New York City. Eric Adams became the city's 110th mayor, taking the oath of office shortly after midnight, January 1st. Adams has requested his first 3 mayoral paychecks be in the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. After that, he'd like to be paid in Kohl's cash. A student at Canton McKinley High School in Ohio is suing its coaches for forcing him to eat a double-crust pepperoni pizza. The student is on a strict keto diet. No carbs. Sources say that in order to keep up with the volume of direct messages, porn stars on OnlyFans are hiring ghostwriters. And they said it doesn't pay to be an English major. A woman late for her flight at the Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport in Phoenix, Arizona, was arrested when she ran onto the airfield attempting to stop the plane so she could board. And I think we have our first Karen of 2022. In other airport news, Spirit Airlines announced they would temporarily increase the pay of their pilots and flight attendants through January 29th, at which point the pilots and flight attendants will have to give the money back. A bill going through the Oklahoma State House would let parents reject books in school libraries when they contain sexual themes. Oh, what a shame. Those poor kids will never get to read Holes. And that's all for Sketchworks NewsBrake. We'll be back next week, and we hope you are too. I'm Brian Troxell. Say hi to your mom for me. Or I guess I could just do it myself, since I'm ghostwriting her OnlyFans.